Ladies and gentlemen, there's a truth we must all come to understand in our lives, a truth that can bring us peace and freedom. We don't need to know everything. Too often we find ourselves burdened by the desire to understand every detail, every outcome, and every mystery that life throws our way. We want to have it all figured out, to control every moment. But there's one thing we must remember sometimes: it's okay not to know. We live in a world that thrives on knowledge, on information, on answers. It's natural to think that if we could only uncover the secret to every question, the key to every struggle, life would be easier, better, more manageable. But let me tell you this, there's something incredibly freeing in the realization that we don't have to know it all. In fact, it's often when we let go of that need for control, that desire to understand everything, that we find peace. You see, the world is filled with uncertainties. We don't always know why things happen the way they do. We don't always have answers for the pain, the suffering, or the confusion that we face. And if we try to wrestle with every unknown, we will wear ourselves out. There are moments in life when all we can do is trust. Trust that even when we don't understand, even when we can't see the way forward, there is a purpose at work, a hand guiding us towards something greater than ourselves. Life is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting in the one who does. Think about the times you faced challenges, times when you couldn't understand why things were happening the way they were. You might not have had all the answers, but you learned to lean on something bigger than your own understanding. That's where true strength comes from. That's where true hope resides. There's wisdom in knowing that some things are simply beyond our grasp. The mysteries of life, the events we cannot explain, the future we cannot predict, they are not for us to solve. And that's okay. We are not called to carry the weight of understanding every detail. Instead, we are called to trust in the one who holds it all in his hands. He sees the bigger picture when we can only see a small piece of the puzzle. He knows the path when we are lost in the wilderness. In the midst of our questions, we are invited to rest in the assurance that we don't have to know everything. Our lives are not meant to be lived in constant worry and doubt, trying to figure out the next step or solve every problem. Instead, we are called to move forward in faith, trusting that the answers will come in time, in their own way. The burden of knowing it all is too heavy for us to bear, and that's why we are given grace to rest in the mystery, grace to live in the unknown. So, take heart, my friends. Don't let the pressure of needing to know everything rob you of the peace that comes from trusting in the journey. Let go of the need to have all the answers and embrace the freedom that comes from knowing that sometimes it's okay not to know. You are not alone in this. The desire to understand everything is a powerful force that shapes many of our thoughts, actions, and decisions. In today's world where information is abundant and readily accessible, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the need to know it all. We live in a society that encourages curiosity, learning, and the pursuit of answers. But sometimes this pursuit can become a burden rather than a blessing. When we feel like we need to know everything, we start to place immense pressure on ourselves. This pressure comes from the belief that if we can just understand every situation, every challenge, and every outcome, we will be able to control it, manage it, or at least make sense of it. However, this mindset can quickly lead to frustration and anxiety. No matter how hard we try, there will always be aspects of life that are beyond our comprehension, and trying to control or solve those mysteries can leave us feeling empty or defeated. It's easy to become consumed by the notion that we have to be all-knowing. From the moment we are born, we are encouraged to learn, to ask questions, and to seek understanding. Our education system thrives on this principle: teach them to know more, to ask the right questions, and to seek the truth. But the reality is that not everything can be learned, and not every question has an answer. This is where the burden lies, when we carry the expectation that knowing everything is the key to success or happiness. We set ourselves up for disappointment. Take, for instance, the challenges we face in life. We experience loss, pain, and hardship, and in those moments our first instinct may be to ask, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do wrong? In these moments, the desire for answers can become consuming. But in seeking to understand the reasons behind every event or outcome, we can lose sight of what truly matters. We may spend so much time asking questions that we forget to live in the present, to find meaning in the experiences we are going through. The need to understand everything can blind us to the lessons we are meant to learn along the way. This relentless need for knowledge also leads us to doubt ourselves and our abilities. If we feel like we don't have all the answers, we may believe that we are somehow inadequate, that we're not good enough or capable enough to handle life's challenges. But the truth is, no one has all the answers. No one knows everything. Every person, no matter how successful or wise they may appear, is still grappling with their own uncertainties and questions. The idea that we must have all the answers to be worthy or competent is a myth that only creates unnecessary stress. The pressure to know everything can also interfere with our relationships and our ability to connect with others. When we are constantly preoccupied with searching for answers, we may find ourselves withdrawing from the world around us. We may become so focused on our own need to understand that we forget to be present for those who are right beside us. It can cause us to become isolated in our thoughts, believing that we must solve every problem alone or understand every situation before we can move forward. This mindset can create a barrier between us and those we care about, as we forget that sometimes the most meaningful moments come not from having all the answers, but from simply being with others in the moment. Understanding that we don't need to know everything doesn't mean we stop seeking knowledge, or that we become complacent in our understanding. Rather, it means we release ourselves from the pressure to have all the answers, and we accept that life is full of mysteries that we may never fully understand. By letting go of this need, we can find peace in uncertainty, knowing that it's okay not to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Sometimes it's more important to live with the questions than to have immediate answers. This freedom from the burden of knowing it all allows us to find joy in the journey, not just the destination. In life, there comes a point when we realize that understanding everything is not the answer to finding peace or purpose. Instead, the key to navigating the challenges and uncertainties we face lies in trust. Trusting in something greater than ourselves, in a higher purpose, or in the belief that things are unfolding as they should can provide us with a sense of calm that knowledge alone cannot offer. When we let go of the need to understand every situation or to have control over every outcome, we open ourselves up to something more powerful: faith. Trust is not something that comes naturally to all of us. In a world that values logic, reason, and explanation, we are often conditioned to believe that the only way to move forward is by knowing everything. We believe that the more we know, the better prepared we'll be, and the less vulnerable we'll feel. However, the reality is that no amount of information can ever fully prepare us for the unpredictability of life. There will always be circumstances we cannot control, questions we cannot answer, and outcomes that are beyond our grasp. It's in these moments that trust becomes essential. Trust is not about having a blind faith in everything that happens to us. It is about acknowledging that there is a larger plan at work, even when we cannot see the full picture. It's about surrendering our need to know and understanding that life is filled with mysteries, and that's okay. Trust allows us to release the tension and anxiety that often come with the unknown. When we place our trust in something or someone greater than ourselves, we allow ourselves to be carried through life's challenges, rather than weighed down by them. Consider the times in your life when you didn't have all the answers, when you faced a difficult situation and had no idea how things would turn out, yet somehow, in the midst of the uncertainty, you found peace. This peace wasn't a result of knowing exactly what was going to happen, but because you chose to trust that things would work out in the end, even if you didn't understand how. It's in these moments that trust becomes the foundation on which we can stand. It becomes a source of strength when our own understanding falters. Trust doesn't always come easily, and it certainly doesn't come overnight. It's a choice that requires vulnerability and faith. It's a choice to release the need to know every detail, every outcome, and instead embrace the idea that we can move forward without knowing everything. Trust allows us to stop striving for control over every aspect of our lives and to start accepting that some things are simply out of our hands. It's in this acceptance that we find true freedom. When we place our trust in something beyond ourselves, we find a sense of peace that transcends our limited understanding. This doesn't mean that we stop seeking answers or stop making informed decisions, but it means that we recognize the limits of our knowledge and the importance of trusting in the process of life. Trust gives us the courage to face the unknown with confidence, knowing that we don't have to have all the answers to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. In essence, trust becomes the antidote to the pressure of needing to know everything. It allows us to release the weight of expectation and embrace the mystery of life. When we trust in something greater, we find peace in the midst of uncertainty and strength in the face of adversity. Instead of fighting against the unknown, we learn to walk alongside it, trusting that, even though we may not understand, everything will unfold as it is meant to. Life is full of uncertainties, and it's something we all face at one point or another. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. We can't always predict the outcomes of our decisions, and we certainly can't control the twists and turns that life takes. Yet, despite the unpredictability of life, there is beauty and strength in accepting uncertainty rather than resisting it. The need to have everything figured out is not only unrealistic, but it also prevents us from fully experiencing life as it unfolds. It's in accepting uncertainty that we learn to find peace and comfort, even in the most challenging of circumstances. Every day we encounter moments where we simply don't know what to do, where to go, or how things will turn out. We don't know why certain things happen, why people act the way they do, or why we go through certain struggles. These are natural aspects of the human experience. The truth is, there are no guarantees in life, and no matter how hard we try to plan or understand, there are always factors beyond our control, and that's okay. There's a profound freedom that comes when we allow ourselves to live with uncertainty. Instead of constantly striving for answers or searching for signs to guide us, we can let go of the need to have everything mapped out. We stop forcing ourselves to understand every detail and begin to embrace the mystery of life. It's only when we accept that we don't have all the answers that we can begin to experience the fullness of life as it is, in its rawness and unpredictability. When we try to control everything, we often become paralyzed by the fear of the unknown. We spend so much time worrying about what might happen that we forget to live in the moment. We anticipate problems that may never come, or we try to avoid the possibility of failure so much that we miss out on opportunities for growth and learning. The unknown, however, is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's in the unknown that we often find our greatest growth, our deepest connections, and our most meaningful experiences. There are countless stories of people who stepped into uncertainty, not knowing what would come of it, and yet found incredible transformation along the way. It was in the moments when they let go of their need to control or understand every step that they experienced the most profound change. Whether it was taking a risk in their career, moving to a new place, or simply facing a personal challenge, the unknown became a space for them to discover new strengths, resilience, and wisdom they didn't know they had. When we acknowledge that uncertainty is part of life, we stop resisting it and start accepting it as a natural, even necessary part of the human experience. It's in that acceptance that we find peace. We no longer feel the pressure to have every answer, and we can begin to move forward with confidence, knowing that uncertainty doesn't have to be a source of fear or anxiety. It can be an opportunity for growth, exploration, and discovery. The most significant things in life often come from the spaces where we can't fully understand, plan, or control. Love, joy, and fulfillment often appear when we least expect them, and they rarely come in ways we can predict. By embracing the unknown, we create room for life to surprise us, to teach us and to lead us to places we could never have imagined when we were caught up in trying to have everything figured out. The unknown is not something to fight against, but something to step into with open arms, trusting that in that space, something beautiful will unfold. Letting go of the need to know everything brings with it a sense of freedom, one that can relieve us from the weight of constant worry and anxiety. For so long, we've been taught that to be successful, to feel secure, or to be at peace, we must have all the answers. We strive to control every aspect of our lives, to plan for every possible outcome, and to anticipate every challenge. But the truth is, when we let go of this need for absolute certainty, we unlock a deeper sense of peace and freedom, one that allows us to experience life more fully and without the constant burden of expectation. When we live with the expectation that we must know everything, we inevitably become overwhelmed. We are continuously thinking about what comes next, what's around the corner, or how we'll respond to future problems. We hold ourselves hostage to an endless cycle of trying to predict the future, and the more we try to anticipate, the more we fear the unknown. This fear creates a kind of mental clutter that keeps us from being present in the here and now. It prevents us from truly experiencing the moment and appreciating the life we're living right now. However, when we let go of the need to know everything, we create space for something much more valuable: peace. Peace comes from the ability to step back, to breathe, and to trust that everything will unfold as it is meant to. In letting go of the overwhelming pressure to control every detail of our lives, we free ourselves from the constant need to be in the driver's seat. We stop worrying about what's coming next and start to embrace the present, trusting that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. Letting go of the need to know everything also frees us from the chains of perfectionism. Perfectionism is born from the belief that we must get everything right, that we must have all the answers, and that we cannot fail. But this belief is limiting. It creates an environment where we are afraid to take risks, afraid to try new things, and afraid to grow. When we let go of this need for perfection, we give ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes and to learn from them. We no longer need to have everything figured out, and in doing so, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth and transformation. The freedom that comes with letting go also allows us to trust in the process of life. Life is not a straight path, and it's rarely something that can be mapped out perfectly. When we stop trying to control every aspect of our journey, we allow ourselves to be guided by something greater than our own understanding. We trust that even when we don't have all the answers, there's a purpose to everything that happens, and that we are moving in the direction we're meant to be. This trust frees us from the pressure to figure everything out right away, and lets us walk forward with confidence, knowing that the steps we take will lead us where we need to go. By letting go of the need to know everything, we also open ourselves to the beauty of uncertainty. Life is full of surprises, and some of the most profound moments come when we least expect them. It's when we embrace the unknown that we allow room for life to surprise us, to offer us new experiences, and to teach us valuable lessons. We no longer live in a rigid box of expectations, but in an open space where anything is possible. This freedom to experience life as it unfolds, without the pressure to control or understand it all, is where we find true joy, peace, and fulfillment. Living by faith is one of the most powerful ways to navigate life's uncertainties. It requires a shift in perspective from relying on our understanding and knowledge to trusting in something greater than ourselves. Faith doesn't demand that we have all the answers or that we understand every detail of life's journey. Instead, it calls us to move forward with trust, knowing that even in the absence of certainty, we can find direction. It's about stepping out in confidence, even when we don't know what the future holds, and trusting that we are not walking alone. Faith allows us to embrace the unknown without fear, because it shifts our focus from the need to control and understand everything to the belief that there is a greater purpose at work. In times of doubt and confusion, when it feels like life is spiraling beyond our control, faith offers us the reassurance that things are unfolding as they are meant to. It gives us the courage to take steps forward, even when we are unsure of what the next step might be, because we trust that we are being guided toward what is best for us. The beauty of faith is that it enables us to trust in the process of life, in the unseen, and in the belief that there is a larger plan at play that we may not fully understand but can rely on. It's easy to get caught up in the need for answers, especially when we are facing challenges that feel insurmountable. We might look at a difficult situation and ask, "Why me?" Or "How will I ever get through this?" In those moments, faith doesn't necessarily give us the immediate answers we're searching for, but it does provide us with a sense of peace and assurance. Faith teaches us that even in our darkest moments, even when the path ahead is unclear, there is something greater at work. It's not always about having all the answers or understanding the reasoning behind everything, but rather about trusting that what we are going through has meaning and purpose, even if we can't see it in the moment. Moving forward in faith means letting go of the need to have everything figured out. Instead of holding on to the need for control, we learn to release our fears and anxieties and place our trust in something larger than ourselves. This shift in perspective doesn't make life easier or free us from challenges, but it allows us to face those challenges with the confidence that we are not alone. Faith helps us to see obstacles as opportunities for growth and setbacks as stepping stones in the journey. It's in these moments of struggle that we often learn the most about ourselves, our resilience, and our capacity to endure. Living by faith also means trusting in timing. In a world where instant gratification is often expected, it can be difficult to embrace the idea that everything happens in its own time. But faith teaches us that there is a rhythm to life, a flow that cannot be rushed or forced. Sometimes the answers we are looking for do not come immediately, and the direction we seek may be revealed slowly over time. When we live by faith, we accept that the right answers will come when the time is right, and until then, we continue to trust and move forward. Faith also strengthens our sense of purpose. When we trust that our lives have meaning, even in the midst of confusion or uncertainty, we are better equipped to handle the challenges that come our way. Instead of feeling lost or adrift, we hold on to the belief that there is a greater plan at work, and that every experience, every setback, and every victory is part of a bigger picture that we may not fully comprehend but can trust will unfold in due time. This belief in a higher purpose gives us the strength to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead is unclear. In the end, life is not about having all the answers or understanding every twist and turn that comes our way. It's about learning to embrace uncertainty, trusting in the process, and living by faith. When we let go of the overwhelming need to control, to know and to understand everything, we open ourselves to the freedom and peace that come from trusting in something greater than ourselves. We find strength in our ability to move forward, even when the future is unclear, knowing that we are not alone in this journey. Faith becomes the guiding force that helps us navigate the unknown, not with fear, but with confidence and hope. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay to live in the mystery of life, trusting that as we walk forward, we are being guided toward what is meant for us. We are called to embrace the unknown, to find peace in uncertainty, and to trust that the path will unfold as it should, even if we don't have all the answers today.